This is the time when the best of the year lists start to pop up. Time magazine today unveiled their person of the year for 2019, and that person is Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old activist who's the youngest human ever to be named person of the year. And to honor this young woman who's dedicated her life thus far to saving our environment, Time will cut down thousands of trees to print 2 million copies of the magazine. You know, Greta is a very deserving recipient of this honor. She's an amazing kid, and I have to hand it, though, to our president. He has yet to throw a temper tantrum about this. He wasn't named, but he's on his best behavior. Unfortunately, his namesake, Donnie Jr., was not. He wrote, "Time leaves out the Hong Kong protesters fighting for their lives and freedoms to push a teen being used as a marketing gimmick. How dare you?" And then he went back underwater to strangle an endangered dolphin. Who knew DJ TJ cared so much about the protesters in Hong Kong? He's full of surprises. I do have to say, though, it's great that Greta made the cover, but in my opinion, the person of the year has to be this guy. You might not know his face. His name's Bruno Cardinale. He's an executive at an American restaurant chain. He's also the man responsible for the Popeye's chicken sandwich. And the sandwich that brought us together and tore us apart and then brought us... How did Bruno not at least make the top 5? No one's waiting in line for 4 hours to get a Nancy Pelosi, I will tell you that. Google today released their most popular search of the year, and this is interesting. They claim it wasn't porn, which I don't believe. But no, the #1 search of 2019 on Google was Disney Plus, the new streaming service that promises to raise your children for you for $7 a month. Other top searches of the year were Nipsey Hussle, the late hip-hop star, Antonio Brown, the troubled wide receiver, and how do I do a gender reveal without blowing up my house? Meanwhile, it has been another week of headaches for Jabba the Trump. The House Judiciary Committee started formal debate on the articles of impeachment tonight. They're expected to yell at each other late into the evening tonight. And for those who are unfamiliar with this impeachment process, which is most of us, this is how it goes. After they debate, the House will, presumably next week, vote on the articles of impeachment. Assuming the vote is to impeach, which it will be, it will move to a trial in the Senate. The evidence presented to the Senate will overwhelmingly suggest that the president committed high crimes and misdemeanors. All the Republican senators, except Mitt Romney, will ignore that and vote to acquit. Trump will stay in the White House. We'll watch the Super Bowl and talk about the commercials, and that'll be that. Right, Guillermo? That's how it will go.
That's right, yes. Right. That's the way it is.
So, the president was in Hershey, Pennsylvania last night, eating chocolate, making friends, and he's moved on to a new phase of his ever-changing defense of the indefensible, and that is, yes, I'm being impeached, but not like impeached.
This is the lightest, weakest impeachment. You know, our country's had actually many impeachments. You call judges and lots of many impeachments. But it was on today, everybody said, this is impeachment light. This is the lightest impeachment in the history of our country by far. It's not even like an impeachment.
Yeah. No, it's exactly like an impeachment. It's an impeachment. It's not a diet impeachment. It's a real, you are about to get impeached, okay? Trump had a lot to say last night. He was shot out of a cannon, so we slowed him down to half speed for another edition of Drunk Donald Trump.
Oh, that's a beautiful new hat. Look at the hat that guy's got on. How's that hat working out? Is that hat good? I love that hat.
Sure, a great-looking hat. Once again today, Republicans lined up to win the president's love. One in particular, and I have a theory about this. I have a big theory. This could blow the lid off a lot of different things. But today in the Senate, the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, appeared before the Judiciary Committee. This is the guy who wrote the report that came out this week that said a lot of things, including that Obama never wiretapped Trump Tower, as Trump has claimed. It debunked the president's claim that the FBI investigation into his campaign ties with Russia was a deep state hit job. It was not. The Inspector General, who worked for Trump, by the way, found that none of these conspiracy theories are true and found no evidence of another GOP talking point that the infamous Steele dossier had anything to do with the decision to launch the investigation. The Steele dossier, if you don't know, sounds like a John Grisham novel. Really, it's just a 35-page report about how Russia wanted the host of Celebrity Apprentice to be our president. So stay with me here, because it's about to get good. So this report, ordered by Trump and done by his people, did not in any way back up his crazy claims, which is damaging to him. But that's where Senator Lindsey Graham comes in. Lindsey Graham put on quite a show. First, he demanded to know why investigators didn't tell Trump his campaign was being investigated. Well, I don't know, maybe because his campaign was being investigated? Isn't that how it usually works? But then Graham did some role play to diminish the report, reciting saucy text messages between FBI lovers Lisa Page and Peter Strzok.
March 3rd, 2016. Page, God, Trump is a loathsome human. Strzok, oh my God, he's an idiot. March 16th, 2016. I cannot believe Donald Trump is likely to be actual serious candidate for president. July 16th, we're getting closer to when this thing opens. And wow, Donald Trump is an enormous douche. Again, a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah, well, yes, I agree with that. And then Lindsey, again defending the president, took his performance to heights previously unseen in the Senate.
The first thing is about the golden shower, about the sexual encounter that President Trump supposedly had in a Ritz-Carlton hotel in Russia.
Oh, thanks for reminding us about that. I almost forgot about it. The phone ringing was Trump going, "What the hell are you talking about?" Has anyone ever mentioned a golden shower in Congress before? I don't think so. Lindsey Graham's point, I guess, was that the parties involved in the investigation were biased against Donald Trump. They didn't want him to be president, which is a crazy point to make because I can think of someone else back then who didn't want him to be president, too.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
He doesn't represent my party. He's a jackass. Donald Trump is a political car wreck.
At the end of the day, he would be the most flawed nominee in the history of the Republican Party.
Donald Trump is the most unelectable Republican I've seen in my lifetime.
He would be a terrible commander-in-chief. He doesn't have the temperament or judgment. He's not fit to be president of the United States. Okay. We would get slaughtered as a party if Donald Trump's our nominee, and quite frankly, we would deserve it.
Well, I guess, I don't know, I guess he had a change of heart because Lindsey Graham was one of the most outspoken critics of Trump. Now he suckles at his teat like a baby goat. It doesn't make any sense. Or does it? Now, you remember that anonymous op-ed in the New York Times last year? And the book by Anonymous that came out last month? And they never figured out who wrote them, and they still haven't figured out who the whistleblower is. Well, I think I know the identity of Anonymous and the whistleblower. They are one person. They are this man.
You know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
That's right. Anonymous and the whistleblower are Senator Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham has been blowing anonymously for years. Golden showers. Golden Graham is what it is. The jig is up. Thank you. Here's another item of interest. There are reports now, reports that originated with Politico, that if elected, Joe Biden might only want to serve one term. He's 77 years old, and the rumored story is that he's looking for a running mate he could turn things over to, because by the end of his first term, he'd be 82. Basically, he'd leave the presidency to his running mate in his will, is what the plan is. But Biden says no. He pushed back on that story today, and his campaign denied it, too. But if you pay close attention to this ad they just put out, there might be something to this.
America is in crisis. Big problems require big solutions. We need a leader to lead us for almost as long as it takes. Joe Biden has been working hard for the American people for years and is willing to work a couple more.
I agree that everybody, once they, in fact, they should... Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
You can count on Joe Biden to get the first half of the job done.
I'm Joe Biden, and I'll say You know,
I'm Pete Buttigieg, and I approve the second half of this message.
I'd be okay with that plan. It'd be all right. Hey, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Give back this holiday season in a fun way. Buy my new book, The Serious Goose. I wrote it and drew it. All the money I make goes to children's hospitals across the country. Or watch another gaming video and don't help kids. It's up to you.